All right, Fantasy Football Fools, the Ryan and Jacob Show returns surprisingly for an end of the season episode. Sorry that we kind of fell off at the end of the season there, but we're going to come back. Wanted to congratulate our champion, Chew Nelson. What a upset finish. I think kind of everybody was expecting Jimmy to take the crown this year, but Chewy comes out on top and takes the Corona Cup home. So congrats to Chewy. Congrats to Jimmy on the second place finish. Congrats to Matt, third place. I don't think anybody expected you to even get there if we were looking at it at the beginning of the season. So just congratulations to our top three guys who finished in the money. It was a great season, and we're looking forward to next year.
Yeah, like Ryan, I want to reiterate to him, congratulations to Chewy, Jimmy, Matt. Chewy with the upset victory. You can see in our little Excel sheet. I wanted to kind of have a central location on, points for, points against, points per game, points against per game differential. And you can see we have these stats all the way from 2018. And I just know that Chris won his first 2 years in the league and the 2017, 2016. Unfortunately, we don't have the stats for that, but ESPN is kind of keeping it as long as we keep the name going. So that's kind of nice. And I just kind of put it in Excel. And you got to remember, Jimmy actually had more points than Chewy by about 170. So this was a pretty big upset win. But I wanted to kind of compare champions versus runner-ups, who was the best champion, who was the best runner-up, and we'll keep this list going for the years we do fantasy. But you can even tell, like, my team last year had more points than Chewy with half-point PPR. So that just kind of goes to show how good my team was last year. But if you had to pick somebody who was better, Chewy or me, who would you go with, Rye?
I know you just want to keep talking about your 2019 team. You just look for any excuse to talk about them. Obviously, your team was better. We can see it right here on the points. You scored more than Chewy, so obviously your team in 2019 was better.
It's just interesting, though, without PPR, I still beat them. Chewy's team wasn't bad. My team was just amazing. So, we'll stop talking about my team, but we'll go.
Yeah,
so this is an interesting one, though. If we compare the runner-ups from last year, so Jimmy had 1,573 points, and then Ryan last year had 1,369 without PPR. And if you compare Jimmy and Ryan's team, I think I might go with Ryan's team last year. I don't know if I'm sure you'll go with your own team, but I think your team was better than Jimmy's.
Because honestly, I've been saying this for so long. Like if there wasn't such a ridiculously stacked team like yours last year, my team's an easy champion like any other year. Like it wouldn't even be close. But yeah, so I'm going to say my team, but I will say Jimmy definitely had a pretty dominant year this year too, regular season wise. The guy had a great, what was he? 2-loss team, maybe 2 or 3 loss team. It's a tough loss in the championship, but Jimmy's team was just knocking people out all year. He was putting up, like you said, he won all of our categories, just putting up more points than anybody all year. So, you got to give Jimmy props for that. But yeah, with my team being non-PPR and the fact that I had Christian McCaffrey, who would have scored like 15 more points a game if we had PPR, I think my team was probably maybe a little bit better, but yeah, that's a biased opinion, and I don't want to take any credit away from Jimmy because his team this year was studly.
But it's interesting to see because I actually went kind of more towards of would your team had more points than Jimmy, and if you want to scroll to the right, I kind of did my own little calculation. I looked up 2019 stats, and for me, the top numbers on our respective guys are the receptions they had in 2019, and then that's just divided by 2 for the half-point PPR. So, my top 4 guys last year were Michael Thomas, Austin Eckler, Odell, and Aaron Jones. And you can tell just by those 4, that's without a flex and that's without a tight end, I would have scored 182 more points. And, I would have probably beat Jimmy by, over 200 if I actually added my tight end and added my flex option. And then for Ryan, it got a little interesting because I actually added his flex option, and this is without a tight end. So his top 5 guys were Jacobs, McCaffrey, Godwin, Allen, and Gallup. And you just barely beat Jimmy with just those five people by about 7 points. So it's interesting to see. I think, and I know this might sound biased, but I think we had probably the best 2 teams that any fantasy team will. I mean, it's going to be hard to beat our championship matchup because of how just stacked both of our teams were last
Yeah,
year.
it's super biased.
I mean, but I think people agree with that because, like, I know Lubasi always says that, my team was really good. Like, even I've got, like, James was texting me just after last year on how, like, that was, like, one of the best fantasy teams he's ever seen. Like, they were hyping me up. I don't know. But, I mean, it was worth the hype. And I think just by these stats alone, I would have beat Jimmy by about 200 points. The second place team would have beat Jimmy by 7 points. I think that just kind of goes into that our championship game and season were just that good. But if you want to go back to the actual stats, I just thought that was interesting. And again, like I said, I was going to keep doing this just to see
like
how each year we get. So you can see the championship in 2018, Matt did not score that many points and, non-PPR. And he just, him and Joey were really close in point totals, but it seems like they were kind of lacking in 2018, the amount of points that were actually scored.
Yeah. Yeah. And I like I said, I think this would be cool to keep putting together every year. And now that I think ESPN keeps track of everything now starting at that 2018 season. So this will be something that's very plausible for us to do. Unfortunately, we don't have stats for Chris's back-to-back championships there in 16 and 17. But yeah, I think this will be a cool idea moving forward to see if anybody does match up to our pretty elite season that we had last year.
And if you guys know who won in 2015, 2014, I just, for the life of me, cannot remember. I know it wasn't me. So if you know that you won in 2015 or like any years before that, let me know. I can add it just as kind of how I added Chris's, which is like with no stats, and just so we can keep track. I think it's cool to keep track of, who's won. And then, in 20 years, you can see, Jacob's won 4 times, Chris won 3 times, Ryan's won 0 times. Like, it's just cool to see stats like that. And I might even add like a win-loss record for, just to see like maybe how good of a record we have in like 20 years. Cause I mean, this league is going to stay intact forever. So I'm not worried about that, but I think it'll just be cool to have like a stat like this.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. And yeah, I think we can leave out the fact that I haven't won a championship yet. Maybe out of that, we'll just not mention that.
We'll see if you won one in 25 years. But so we want to get to the new mini game idea that we have that we've been kind of testing the waters on. I think it's going to be pretty cool. You guys don't have to text me every week, and that won't die every week. So I think that's going to just make it better than last year's mini game. But it's basically putting together 10 random categories. I want to do 10 just so like 10 times 10, it'll be $100. So I'm not doing 13 and then 130 and then other payouts will get kind of weird. But these 10 random categories that we'll decide on. We'll get your guys' inputs. I want to have a couple good ones, like quarterback with the most passing yards that started. And then I want to have actual bad ones too, like quarterbacks with the most picks or the quarterback with the least amount of yards. Just to make it kind of like randomized, and just everyone's kind of on their toes that the best is not always going to win money. So that's kind of our thought. We're kind of thinking about that kind of stuff just to make this league a lot better and just a lot more fun, a lot more interactive. But if you guys have any ideas that you want to have like as ideas for different categories, shoot me a text, shoot me an email, whatever you want to do, put it on the league page. I think that's going to be just kind of fun. And then I know we've talked about this. We got to get better at doing podcasts each week. And I know we did more last year than 2 years ago. So, we'll slowly get better. Hopefully next year we won't miss a beat, but during the podcast, we'll do like a live raffle and to pick the category for the week prior. So nobody's going to know what category is Even me and Ryan won't know. It'll just be all randomized. So we won't play for like $10 if you're like losing. If you're, you start 0-6 and you just kind of play for the categories, it's not going to be possible. So that's kind of what we're thinking about. And I think it'll just be a lot more fun and more interactive, and not having to text me every week. I think people are going to like it a lot more.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's a good idea for now, unless somebody comes to us with a banger of an idea that's better than that. But yeah, I like that idea. I think that's good. It makes it more fair, and also doesn't require like all of our people to text us on Thursday nights to give us mini game picks, because that just turned into somewhat of a disaster. Everybody was super into it. The first year, I think things went pretty well with it. Not everyone did it towards the end of the season still, but the second year of doing it, I mean, we fell off after probably about week 3, week 4. I mean, I think even me and you by the end of the year weren't even paying attention to that. So that was fun while it lasted. But yeah, I think we're ready for something new, something fresh, and I really like this new idea.
Yeah, if you guys have any ideas that you want to put like $25 on, $50 on these little mini games. We don't want to do too many mini games because we still want money for the first, second, and third place people. But I know we talked about having a couple bucks set aside for the consolation bracket. So we're thinking about things like that, and just to try to make this league a lot more fun. And it kind of goes into our next point on just how much we're looking forward to next year, and how much we're looking forward to having everyone back next year and having the same people in the same league that are going, that know us and that know the league. And I think it's going to be fun. I mean, I just can't wait. I know we're doing this free buy-in thing, so that's another different thing that we tried. And Chris is still actually in the running for that free buy-in. I kind of miscalculated his bracket with the Saints Bucks, kind of messing that up. But he texted me, and we kind of figured it out. But we're gonna do that next year. I think that was really fun. The odds are not in your favor. You're gonna have to do a lot of perfect picking. But Chris is on the right track. If there's the Chiefs Packers and Chiefs beat the Packers, we're gonna be owing a lot more money for fantasy. That's for sure. But you got people like Ryan who picked the Bears to be in the Super Bowl. I mean, that's just free. He's never going to get that. So,
I mean, I told you that I picked with my heart and not my head. So,
not work out.
That's all I had to say.
But yeah, and I mean, this is going to be kind of a short podcast, but the main thing is having this league be as interactive as possible. Me and Ryan, spend a lot of time, whether it's being a podcast, whether it's thinking of these new mini games and bouncing ideas away or off of each other. We spend a lot of time doing that. And we're even thinking about maybe even making a website for the league and just having, that extra step. And we go that extra step. And just the fact that you guys communicate with us, that you guys like play along, watch the podcast, appreciate what we're doing. That's kind of what we do this for. We're not doing it for, we're not making hundreds of thousands of dollars off of these things. Maybe one day, but
actually right now, $0 and 0 cents.
Right. We're not making any money. This is our time. This is, but we enjoy doing it. That's why we do it. And I hope that you guys just enjoy it as much as we do.
And to that point, if you don't enjoy it, let us know.
Yeah, let us know. Yeah, exactly. What can we do to make it more interactive for you? And just so you guys know, I appreciate you guys who watch the podcast, and you talk to me afterwards about things, and then you guys communicate to each other on Facebook. And that's what we want, is just the banter back and forth, the shit talking. I mean, it makes the league more fun. Ryan's really good at that during the podcast, and everyone who watches the podcast, especially Lubasi, starts shit talking to him on our group messages and stuff like that. And that's what makes it fun. So I just want to make sure that people are interactive and then continue to be interactive because of all the work that we put in. And we just appreciate when you guys are interactive. And honestly, it just really makes this league a lot more fun when people are, talking shit and, appreciating everything that we're doing and watching the podcast and just validating what we're kind of putting our time into. So, I mean, with that being said, I don't know if Ryan, you have anything else to say, but I really just cannot wait for next year. I'm already having my draft board up. Like, I seriously just can't. I'm fiending for some fantasy football.
We haven't even had the NFL draft yet. You don't even know who's on what team.
I'm still fiending.
Yeah. Yeah, just to that point, I'm pretty excited for next year. Might throw up an episode or two mid-summer, just a surprise episode just to talk about whatever, talk some shit about the upcoming season. But yeah, like you said, this is something that we enjoy doing. I think the podcast has kind of made this a little bit more interactive over the last couple of years. I certainly enjoyed talking shit to everybody. And we would certainly enjoy to hear that come back at us. Give us a lot more content for sure. But like I said, if it's something that you don't like, you don't enjoy it, and you think it's a waste of our time to do, let us know. We can certainly tweak things up, change things, stop doing it if that's what you want. We don't want to do that, but like if people literally aren't enjoying it, then at the end of the day, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense. So yeah, just kind of piggybacking off of what Jacob said, just give us any feedback that you can. We really enjoy this league. Definitely plan on it being intact forever. And yeah, I guess that's all I really got to say.
Yeah, the feedback is a key thing. I know some people text me about, different things that they would like to see, and just more of that would be great. I try to listen and try to incorporate everything that people say. If they don't like this, I try to, get rid of it. That's why we kind of do league voting, just to see how everyone's feeling on that certain subject. But yeah, I think can't wait for the season. I know we're doing a fantasy baseball league. If anyone's interested in that, I know we have about 7 people right now. I think 3 or 4 of you guys are actually in this league. It would be cool to have as many people in the league as possible, just to keep that brotherhood and that league going. But I know some people don't like baseball and stuff like that. So if you're interested, let me know. We got about 3 spots remaining, and if you are in the league already and you know somebody else that's outside of this league, let us know, or let him know to contact me. We might do a couple podcasts for baseball, but we're not going to do one every week, more than likely. Maybe one for the draft and maybe one mid-season, and then people will get tired of it. So we'll see how baseball. We'll play that one by ear. But I do want to have a draft one and just kind of talk about baseball, because baseball is my favorite sport. So it'll be interesting. But I mean, without further ado, I think we can end it and we'll be good.
Yep, that sounds good. Hope you guys enjoyed, and we will see you soon.
Peace.